Professor, is this all real? Or is it just happening inside my head?
Of course it's happening inside your head, Harry. Why should that mean that it's not real?
So, recently I've been having this kind of existential dread. Well, I say recently, it happens occasionally, but it started up again about 2 days ago. I don't know if existentialism is really the right philosophy umbrella term for what I'm talking about. Instead, I guess I would call it more of an epistemological skepticism. Epistemology is the philosophical study of knowledge. It makes us question what we know and how we know it and whether we can know anything at all. Let me explain what I'm talking about. You know when you're thinking back to a memory that you know really, really well, and you can remember what it looked like and what it felt like to be there? And for a second, like just for a split second, you kind of flash back to where your thoughts and emotions were at the time of the actual memory. It's like for a split second, you're daydreaming yourself back in time. Recently, I've been having this uneasy feeling that although I believe myself to be a 22-year-old grad student in Massachusetts, I am actually my 95-year-old self thinking back on this moment right now as a memory. When you're in a dream, it feels very, very real. So even though it might only happen for 1 second inside of your head, there's this jarring moment when all of your real life thoughts come flooding back in and suddenly you just get pulled out. Just like somebody who was in a dream would fear snapping out of it and realizing that everything they thought was real was actually in their minds, I'm fearing the sudden feeling of being snapped out of this and realizing that I'm actually 95 years old. This might seem stupid or far-fetched, but the core of the issue is that I don't really know if in any given second, the next second is going to be me snapping back to reality. When you're dreaming, you don't really know that you're in a dream because everything feels very real. If I were in a dream or a flashback of a memory, it would feel exactly the same as it does now, since my future self has all the same thoughts and events that preceded this exact moment in his subconscious. The result of this thought process has been this existential anxiety, which feels like I'm waiting to be shocked or dunked into water. The only difference is with this fear, I'm worried that I've already lived my whole life and am now looking back on my past only as a memory. This thought process isn't an existential crisis about meaning. Those are more common and I'm kind of used to dealing with them. Instead, this is a fear that what I think is real isn't real, and what I think is my future is not only determined, it's past. So now we have to talk about how to snap out of it. Marie! Do you want to go on a trip?
Do I need anything other than a towel?
No. When you have kind of a constant existential feeling, it's kind of like a background hum to a lot of the thoughts that are going through your mind. And I find, in my experience, what you need to do is do something, anything, that makes you solely focused on that activity so that all of your thoughts are focused on one thing in one moment and all of the background hums just kind of vanish. If I knew we could have parked here, then I wouldn't have parked all the way over there. Marie? I think we're here. What I need is this fear to take over my mind, to distract me from my looming existential dread.
You gotta understand. One chance, you will never regret the things that we do.
I'm scared. The reality of the situation is that whether this is real, or I'm in a memory, or I'm in a dream, sometimes you gotta jump. Ready?
Yep.
1, 2. I think it's all about finding one moment that makes you feel like you're present and fully there, and like, even if you aren't a memory, at least it's a good one. There's some metaphor in here about me being terrified, feeling like I was about to be dunked in water, and then solving it by being dunked in water. The water isn't actually the point. The point is that sometimes exactly what you need to shock yourself out of this kind of humming existentialism in the background is to do something that, for lack of a better term, makes you feel alive. And on a side note, for anybody whose mind is kind of having a lot of preoccupations with anything, doing something that really scares you really helps get your mind all clear. Okay, time to get out from these bugs.
I don't wanna stay here, no. Ain't gonna keep it low now. If you wanna go, let's go. Let's wrap it up and hit the road. I just gotta know some.
I think my mouth and head are full of lake water. Luckily, now my head is full of lake water as opposed to existential thoughts.
0 out of 10.